Hello, welcome to this very short episode of the Lemons Alphabet Advent Calendar, because we have I and J, so there's not really a whole lot of competition here in terms of what the game of the year for the letter I and my game of the year for the letter J is, but just, you know, it's the game that I played the most this year, or want to play the most this year, is what's gonna end up taking it. So, you know, just real quick, I think that really there's only gonna be like 3 different things that could possibly take it. Insurgency Sandstorm is one that isn't taking it, spoiler alert, but it is a very fun game, especially because I like it when there's a game that almost focuses equally on the PvP and the PvE side of things. The co-op mode I think is the more fleshed out, and I think the people that play Insurgency Sandstorm usually will play the co-op versus the AI, just because with the way the realism is, it's just very nice when the guns are a little unfair, you know, like you kill the person in like 1 or 2 shots. It's supposed to go for realism, but that model can be a little iffy. Realism can be pretty spotty, especially with competitive games. Mainly things like vision, like is it cool if you're in a bush like sniping people, and there's like other unrealistic things that you have to add to it. Insurgency Sandstorm, they seem to still have some arcadey parts to it, but in the end of the day, like it is like a military simulated shooter. I think they're trying to really bridge the gap, and it's pretty refreshing, I'm not gonna lie, but it didn't get a lot of playtime for me this year. Like the only other one I can think of is Iron Lung. Markiplier's making that a movie. I think that's the biggest news from this year that I've had it. You're in the dark. You know, that's funny because there's the meme, you know, the meme. Iron Lung almost should be Game of the Year for that. But it's a very like bare bones sort of single player experience. Yeah. Mine is Into the Breach. So again, as I've shared previously, I got a Steam Deck, and Into the Breach is a turn-based strategy game. Normally there's a lot of randomness to a lot of turn-based strategy, but this is one that is very good at keeping you informed and like what is about to happen, and each turn is like a puzzle to solve. And there are some like probabilities, things like that, but I think it's very specifically trying to be like almost a solvable turn-based strategy game. Instead of it being like there's a lot of unknowns and, you know, you'll have to work and be very adaptive. There's still a bit of that, but everything is reactable, right? So Into the Breach, luckily, is my game of the year. I know, very short. Now, the next one that we're going to be on is J. J has pretty much any Jackbox Party Pack game. I'm going to be honest, there's Jackbox is a little bit weird this year. I almost felt like they should have taken an off year instead of doing what they did, but they created the Naughty Pack, which was a bit controversial, mainly because, not because it was really naughty. I think a lot of people really wanted it, like a X-rated like Jackbox game. This one kind of does that. Unfortunately, if you're like X-rated but you still want it to be marketable, normally the only X-rated thing you're doing is like sex. It's not like Cards Against Humanity where there's like edgy political jokes where you could be like Mecha Hitler or something like that. So they don't really like pass in terms of it being super edgy. Part of the fun of Jackbox was kind of defacing it, right? Like you go into normal drawful and you can, you know, draw cock and balls or, you know, and like, oh, the trivia answer, oh, it's you know, Margaret Thatcher's tits or something. I don't know where that came from, man. Oh my god. It was kind of a weaker showing, and I think that they were charging like $7 a game, which The normal party packs, you get like 5 or 6 of them, and it was basically the same price. And the fact that the naughty pack was 2 returning ones, granted, you know, the fake in it, I almost wish that they would update the old fake in it so it had like the similar process of being able to play remotely, because that was one of the only Jackbox games where you had to be in the same room. You couldn't really stream it very efficiently because it involved like making faces. If you're on a video call, I don't know. Definitely the little surprise is that after that one kind of flopped a little bit, the Jackbox Survey Scramble is actually my J game of the year. I think that this is a really great idea. It has like a database of everybody's answers to certain prompts, and it's ranked from like 1 to 300. And you know, that sounds kind of similar to something that like I would do, right? It's that you have to like know what is the most popular versus the least popular. When I made my A video, in fact, I sorted everything based on how popular it was. So was just something that I find endlessly fascinating. And it comes in like 6 different like mini game modes. It's the same concept. It's like the answers are all like answers that people had to different prompts, but sometimes you need to figure out the number 1. Sometimes you need to figure out the number 400, you know, like it's just a lot of fun to like kind of guess. It's very Family Feudy. I think that it's trying to like scratch that itch. So that is the J winner. I'm not gonna bother with any honorable mentions with J. It had to be a Jackbox game of some sort. I guess the Naughty Pack would be an honorable mention, but the Jackbox Survey Scramble, that is the J game of the year. So I'm imagining that K and L are gonna be a little bit more substantial than this, but there you go. Here's I and J. So I hope you have a great day today, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Thanks.